Arne Johnson's case, famously known as "The Devil Made Me Do It," remains one of the most controversial and talked about intersections of criminal law and the supernatural. This 1981 case in Brookfield, Connecticut, marked the first time in U.S. legal history that demonic possession was used as a defense in a murder trial. The events leading to the tragic incident began months earlier. Arne Johnson, a 19-year-old tree surgeon, was dating Debbie Glatzel. Debbie's younger brother, 11-year-old David Glatzel, reportedly began experiencing disturbing phenomena after the family moved into a rental property. David claimed to see a demonic entity that threatened to harm him and his family. Over time, David's behavior became erratic, with the family reporting violent outbursts, strange growls, and the boy speaking in uncharacteristic tones. The Glatzel family sought the help of Ed and Lorraine Warren, renowned paranormal investigators, to intervene. The Warrens claimed David was possessed by multiple demons. They worked with local priests to perform a series of unofficial exorcisms on David. During these sessions, Arne Johnson allegedly challenged the demonic entities, inviting them to leave David and enter him instead. According to witnesses, this moment marked the beginning of Arne's own strange behavior. Months later, on February 16, 1981, Arne Johnson fatally stabbed his landlord, 40-year-old Alan Bono, with a 5-inch pocket knife during a heated argument. The incident occurred after a day of heavy drinking. Witnesses, including Debbie Glatzel, claimed Johnson had been acting out of character. The stabbing was sudden and brutal, with Bono suffering multiple wounds, including one that stretched from his stomach to the base of his heart. Following his arrest, Johnson's legal team, led by attorney Martin Minnella, attempted to use demonic possession as a defense. Minnella argued that Johnson was not in control of his actions during the killing because he had been overtaken by a malevolent force. The defense cited the Warrens' accounts and the events surrounding David Glatzel as evidence. Minnella even planned to subpoena priests who had participated in David's exorcisms to testify. However, the judge presiding over the case, Robert Callahan, dismissed the demonic possession defense. He ruled that such a claim was unscientific and therefore inadmissible in court. Without the possession argument, Johnson's defense shifted to self-defense. In November 1981, Arne Johnson was convicted of first-degree manslaughter. The jury found him guilty after deliberating for 15 hours. He was sentenced to 10 to 20 years in prison, but served only 5 years due to good behavior. The case drew massive media attention, with newspapers dubbing it "The Devil Made Me Do It" trial. It also sparked intense debate over the legitimacy of paranormal phenomena in legal settings. Skeptics argued that the possession claims were fabricated to garner publicity and create a sensational defense, while others believed it was a genuine case of supernatural influence. The Warrens maintained their account of the events, insisting that the Glatzel family's experiences were real. In 1983, Gerald Brittle published The Devil in Connecticut, a book co-authored with the Warrens, detailing the case. Decades later, the story gained renewed interest with the release of the 2021 film, The Conjuring. The Devil Made Me Do It, part of the popular Conjuring franchise. Despite the controversy surrounding the case, Arne Johnson's life after prison remained relatively private. He married Debbie Glatzel while incarcerated, and they reportedly lived quietly following his release. The Devil Made Me Do It case remains a unique chapter in legal history, raising questions about the interplay of belief, law, and evidence. For some, it is a cautionary tale about the dangers of superstition and the supernatural. For others, it is a chilling reminder of forces beyond human understanding. Regardless of interpretation, Arne Johnson's trial stands as a moment where the paranormal entered the courtroom, leaving an indelible mark on both legal and cultural landscapes. The Smurl haunting is one of the most debated and infamous paranormal cases in modern history. It took place in West Pittston, Pennsylvania, and spanned from 1974 to 1989. Jack and Janet Smurl, along with their 4 daughters and Jack's parents, moved into a modest duplex on Chase Street in 1973. Soon after settling in, they began to experience what they described as supernatural events that would escalate over the years. Initially, the disturbances were minor. The family reported foul odors, such as the stench of rotting flesh, that would mysteriously fill the house and disappear just as suddenly. Appliances malfunctioned without cause, and black stains appeared on freshly painted walls. These incidents were dismissed as common household issues, but the phenomena soon intensified. By the late 1970s, the family's experiences had grown more alarming. Disembodied voices, loud banging, and inexplicable thuds reverberated through the house. Jack and Janet's daughters complained of unseen hands pulling at their blankets during the night. Janet claimed she saw shadowy figures moving through the rooms, and the family's dog was reportedly thrown against a wall by an invisible force. The activity began to take a toll on the family's emotional well-being, leaving them sleep-deprived and on edge. Jack and Janet reported more physical confrontations in the early 1980s. Jack stated he was held down by an unseen force, while Janet claimed to have been sexually assaulted by an invisible entity. The family's devout Catholic faith led them to seek help from their local church. They requested blessings and exorcisms, but the disturbances persisted. In 1986, the Smurls contacted Ed and Lorraine Warren, renowned paranormal investigators, for assistance. The Warrens conducted an investigation and concluded that the house was infested by a powerful demonic entity. According to Lorraine, who claimed to be a clairvoyant, the presence of a malevolent spirit was undeniable. She described the entity as feeding off the fear and emotional distress within the household. The Warrens arranged for a series of blessings and exorcisms, enlisting the help of local priests. Despite these efforts, the Smurls reported no relief. Ed Warren later described hearing threatening growls during their visits, and both he and Lorraine documented the activity extensively. The Warrens' involvement brought media attention to the case, turning it into a national story. Newspapers and television networks covered the haunting, amplifying public fascination and skepticism. Critics, including some members of the local clergy, were unconvinced. They argued that the Smurls might have been fabricating their experiences or misinterpreting natural phenomena. The Pennsylvania Society for Psychical Research conducted its own investigation, but found no conclusive evidence of paranormal activity. Local residents also reported no unusual occurrences in the area, adding to the skepticism surrounding the case. In 1986, author Robert Curran collaborated with the Warrens and the Smurls to publish a book, The Haunted: One Family's Nightmare, detailing the family's experiences. The book further fueled public debate, with some viewing it as an authentic account of a haunting and others dismissing it as a sensationalized story aimed at profiting from public interest in the paranormal. The Smurl family eventually left the house in 1989. According to Janet, the activity diminished but never completely ceased. Jack and Janet remained steadfast in their accounts, insisting that their family had endured a prolonged battle with a malevolent force. In 1991, the case was adapted into a made-for-television movie titled The Haunted, which dramatized the Smurls' experiences. While the film brought the story to a wider audience, it also reignited criticism, with skeptics accusing the family of exaggerating their claims for fame or financial gain. The Smurl haunting remains a polarizing subject in paranormal circles. For some, it stands as a chilling example of supernatural interference in everyday life. For others, it serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of credulity and the human tendency to seek explanations for the inexplicable. The Ossett exorcism of 1974 is a chilling case that interweaves religious fervor, mental health issues, and a horrifying tragedy. It took place in Ossett, West Yorkshire, England, and centered on Michael Taylor, a man in his 30s who lived with his wife, Christine, and their 5 children. Michael Taylor had been struggling with depression and other emotional issues. In an effort to find solace, he joined a Christian prayer group led by a charismatic woman named Marie Robinson. Taylor became deeply involved with the group, and his wife, Christine, grew concerned about his increasingly erratic behavior and apparent infatuation with Robinson. During a confrontation in the group's meeting, Michael erupted into a violent, uncontrollable rage, shocking those around him. Witnesses claimed this was the first indication of something deeply wrong. Following the outburst, local clergy believed Michael was under the influence of demonic possession. They arranged for an exorcism to be performed at St. Thomas's Church in Gavre. The ritual began on the night of October 5, 1974, and lasted until the early hours of October 6. It was conducted by Father Peter Vincent, an Anglican priest, and Reverend Raymond Smith, a Methodist minister. The exorcism was grueling and involved intense prayers and commands for the demons to leave Michael's body. During the ritual, the priests claimed to have expelled multiple demons, including those associated with violence, blasphemy, and lust. However, they concluded the exorcism without fully completing it, believing that a few demons, such as those of murder and insanity, remained within him. Michael was sent home to recover, but was left in a highly agitated state. A few hours later, in the early morning of October 6, 1974, Michael Taylor committed a brutal and shocking act. He attacked and killed his wife, Christine, in their home. Her injuries were so severe that investigators described the scene as one of unimaginable violence. Michael also killed the family dog in the frenzy. When police arrived, they found him wandering the streets, covered in blood and incoherent. Michael Taylor was arrested and later stood trial. The court accepted that he had experienced a psychotic breakdown exacerbated by the traumatic exorcism. He was found not guilty of murder by reason of insanity and was committed to a psychiatric institution. The Ossett exorcism remains a cautionary tale, highlighting the dangers of misinterpreting mental illness as supernatural phenomena and the devastating consequences that can follow.